So, dear students, welcome. So, welcome, students. This is Dr. P. Viraja Rao. I'll be taking the introduction course to counseling psychology. And I really appreciate your decision to join this course, the PG Diploma course in counseling psychology, because this is the most important course these days because it has such a wide range of settings, schools, hospitals, colleges, mental health clinics, organizations, etc., etc. So this course will equip you people to learn the fundamental concepts related to counseling psychology, and this is going to make you people equipped with the fundamental concepts related to counseling psychology, skills, and the most important, the ethics that are related to counseling psychology. So, without wasting time, so let us enter into the art and science of counseling. And let me share the screen also here. Yeah. Right. So this course, as I told you, it's a counseling itself is it's a kind of, collaborative process. Now, collaboration is something which is like, depending upon, of course, it is very, very essential, because here the counseling is a collaborative process where a trained professional helps the person or group also for seeking assistance in understanding their psychological behavior, thoughts, feelings, emotions, actions, etc., to facilitate the change in them. Okay. So, as I told you, the wider range of settings here, schools, colleges, organizations, mental health clinics, where the various issues like interpersonal relationship related issues or stress related problems or developmental issues from different um, uh, developmental periods here, and coping related problems and other behavioral problems. So this course is very, very helpful to deal with all these issues. And of course, from the professional help, because you are going to be trained in all these professional schools skills through this particular course. And something, related to the course now, this particular course has 5 blocks. Block 1 deals with the introduction to counseling, that is related to the nature, scope, goals of counseling, and different fields that are relevant to counseling, such as guidance, helping behavior. So these points are also are highlighted in this, and this block addresses the fundamental, concepts related to the social and psychological relations or foundations of counseling, and most important, the characteristics of an effective counselor, ethics related to counseling, etc. And block 2 comprises of approaches to counseling and application of each of these approaches in different areas. And block 3 deals with the most recent and modern approaches to counseling. And these approaches, again, the most key fundamental concepts, therapeutic procedures, and clinical applications, and even Eastern approaches also. Techniques that are used in Eastern approaches to counseling are also highlighted. And block 4 that focuses on features, techniques, benefits from various types of counseling, like school counseling, marriage counseling, or family or couple counseling, etc., etc. Uh, Block 5 explains the application of counseling in a wider range of problems, including families, relationships, developmental challenges in children, behavioral problems in adolescents, etc. Okay. And here, block 1 deals with 3 units. That means each block again deals with 3 units, consists of 3 units. So first block, introduction to counseling, will have introduction to counseling and guidance, psychological and social foundations of counseling, characteristics of an effective counselor, and ethics in counseling. So when it comes to introduction to counseling, uh, it's like there are various, schools of thoughts. Generally, these different distinct theoretical models or approaches, they're called as schools now, schools of therapy, like psychodynamic, cognitive, behavioral, humanistic. All these are considered as schools. They're termed as schools. And of course, the current situation in both counseling as well as psychotherapy, both have a wide range of theoretical orientations, of course, which are now in use also. So this particular block focuses on these aspects, right? And here, to begin with, in this particular introduction to counseling unit, by the end of this particular unit, as it was introduced to you, you'll be able to understand the meaning of counseling and history of counseling, nature and scope of counseling, and what are the differences between counseling guidance and psychotherapy and helping behavior, because it is very important. I mean, there are certain relatively common aspects related to counseling guidance, psychotherapy, and helping behavior, but all the four are distinctively different from each other. And especially those who want to become a counselor, they must know what are those distinctively different aspects related to these four concepts too. Other than there is a common ground of helping, assisting, right? So here, uh, counseling, definitely it's a complex field comparatively, right? And counseling, it's a profession which combines the science of psychological healing. Now you can ask me, what is this psychological healing as such? Psychological healing is something like, where after healing, a person really experiences this inner sense of well-being, harmony, balance, peace, right? With the practice of compassionate, connection. Compassionate means if you have that, inner interest, for example, to become a counselor, you will be motivated to relieve another person from their suffering. So counseling is a profession which combines the science of psychological healing with the practice of this compassion. There is a connection between these two, and counseling is all about that only. Both are kind of connected. And this particular field called counseling, it has the power to help people to change. How? By guiding them, because they are in a kind of zigzag, kind of maze of emotions, thoughts, experiences, life experiences, I must, right? So they help them go through this particular maze of emotions, thoughts, life experiences, and counseling helps them by empowering them to transform their own selves. And counseling actually helps them with kind of very secure and encouraging environment where people can be in their inner worlds, face difficulties, and they can go through their journey of discovering their own selves, in addition to personal development too, right? So by saying these words, what I mean to say is counseling is like an art, of course. It is very much connected to the science as well. So that's why there's a connection between art and science in counseling, because you need to learn the skills of counseling, and it's very, very artistic, but at the same time, it's totally science. And here, you need to really, understand the basic concepts of counseling, and you have to learn, that kind of capacity. You have to, first of all, internally equip yourself, build, those skills so that you can earn the capacity for transformation of those who are in need, who come to you seeking help. That's why it's very complex field. So when you have chosen this particular, course, you should be really, having that passion or compassion towards this particular field. Right? So according to American Counseling Association, ACA, not APA, ACA, counseling is a collaborative and private process in which a qualified professional known as counselor develops a therapeutic alliance with a client to promote personal development and address psychological, emotional, and behavioral issues. Okay. So, who is this qualified professional we are talking about? It's the counselor. And there is a professional, connection between a counselor and client. Client is the person who comes to a counselor seeking help. And here, after counseling, or through counseling, they gain personal development because the counselor is able to address their, whether be it psychological or emotional or behavioral problems. And through counseling, a person will be able to overcome their difficulties. By overcoming their difficulties, they will be able to achieve their goals as well as objectives. Right? They could be short-term goals, long-term goals, objectives of their life, whatever be it. And counseling actually, gives people a very, very safe and secure environment as well, because it provides them with a freedom, right, to communicate their thoughts and emotions. Actually, that's the most important aspect related to counseling, providing them a base, providing them a platform to share their feelings, to communicate what they went through. That is the most important aspect. And of course, it empowers people. And it helps, clients to understand their worries, right? And it provides them with the most appropriate coping mechanisms. What is coping again? Helping strategies. How to, I have some stress issues related to my work. How to cope with that particular problem, right? So coping mechanisms are also equally important. So by the end of your, sessions, counseling, a person should be well equipped with coping strategies or mechanisms to overcome those, problems. Any kind of, problem as such. Right? And of course, okay, counseling is about all these things, but how? How? How do you think a counselor must be to provide a client with all these aspects? It's not that easy, right? So what is that, the counselor has to develop in him or herself? First of all, through active listening, I should be ready to listen to the other person. Active listening is very, very important here. And when a person comes with, some kind of some behavioral issue, right? Some disruptive, emotions, anger issues, for example, or a school child, some, say, high school child with some kind of study habits, issues with study habits or academic, anxiety, exam anxiety, say. So the counselor should be able to provide them with non-judgmental support, and the most important is empathy. Empathy, right? Empathy means thinking from the other person's perspective. Yes, the person is not able to, handle anger. He has some kind of conflict issues with his or her spouse. But are we here to judge their feelings or communication here towards their spouse? No. Non-judgmental support, empathy, and active listening. These are to be emphasized again and again. The most important, right? So, first to enter into the counseling, you need to understand all these aspects. Because the person who seeks help, he or she is feeling overburdened, For example, student. I already mentioned about the high school student. They have academic stress, academic anxiety because of the course load or any other problem. Okay. Lack of, good study habits. They're overburdened. The course is, kind of, the student feels overburdened by their course here. So we need to provide them, the counselor need to provide them with an accepting environment, a secure environment to voice out their worries. For example, the issue is with the time management, not able to manage the time well. One of the, variables which leads to bad, study habits. So accepting the worries with a non-judgmental, aspect, still, supporting and providing them with, a secure environment to, and understanding them from their perspective, and again coming up with time management techniques, goal setting, building coping mechanisms. All these are very, very important. That's what I mean to say. This is what is counseling. Of course, there are, number of, counseling definitions, but here an operational definitions that's been provided by the ACA, not APA, sorry, ACA, American Counseling Association. This you can take as an operational definition. Well, you need to understand the history of counseling too, right? Well, the history of counseling is also, it can be traced back to ancient times. Well, it has to go through its, kind of upheavals to be recognized as a profession, like any other profession, because it has to go through a lot of, ups and downs. And then now, people are recognizing it as, a profession. Before that, even in schools and other, no, we can actually counsel, that's what we are doing, okay. But with professional skills, methods, strategies, techniques, evidence-based techniques. So all these are actually done by professionals here, right? So here, people, once upon a time, they used to seek advice from religious authorities, philosophers, healers, even in civilizations like Egypt, Greece, China, etc., etc. Here, the primary goal of these types of counseling is to provide the individuals with some kind of insight, mostly spiritual direction. And then during Middle Ages, priests and other, clergy members, they used to come up with their own, most religious practices. It was confined to religious practices. So, in short, I can say that the emphasis was most on spiritual counseling, more of, moral training, more of confession. But from Freudian times, that is, 19th and 20th centuries, when it has entered into these deep understanding of unconscious mind, when he started his concept, the three layers of mind: conscious, subconscious, and unconscious. And when it became, important to understand the unconscious mind, to treat the mental health illnesses through free association and other techniques, Freud has developed, then counseling it has taken a different turn. A remarkable change has come. So Sigmund Freud, right? Father of psychoanalysis. He developed, a particular framework. And from then onwards, of course, it has laid a groundwork for the creation of numerous therapeutic modalities, different ways of treatment. Then in 20th century, counseling, has been recognized as a, a professional, field here, of course. And the goal of counseling, especially in vocational counseling movement, etc., they have uh, entered into it. And here, Frank Parsons, Frank Parsons, he was supporting people to come up with some career decisions, finding employment. So here, uh, vocational, especially, vocational counseling movement has taken a very remarkable change. You can say that in 20th century, but the major change that has uh, led by leaders like, Carl Rogers, especially the client center practices that he has built, Carl Rogers, right? And he is the one who emphasized aspects related to counseling, such as the characteristics, I would say, characteristics related to counselors, such as empathy, unconditional positive regard towards client. Then it has developed as a typical professional field. People have started, accepting as a different profession which is to help people, to empower people, right? To understand worries of the people. A field which can actually build coping mechanisms among people, to a profession which assists people to overcome their obstacles. I hope you understood, right? Then, in addition to the counseling, the client centered and various other practices, just now I shared, from the middle of 20th century, now counseling has become, kind of diverse. It has become more diverse. That means many, other specialized areas have also come into it, like marital family counseling, school counseling, substance abuse counseling, trauma counseling, etc., etc. So here, the professional associations have also, kind of entered into it. Like professional associations means, like, for example, American Counseling Association, right? So they have created kind of, to support ethical standards, right? Research into counseling and counselor collaborations. Counselor collaborations means, I'll give you one small example. For example, school counseling, right? So counselor, parents, teachers, support staff, student support staff, community leaders, all these, kind of collaborate together. Even counselors in the school also collaborate together with all these other, community leaders and parents and teachers to provide a comprehensive counseling program to promote student, students more successful and uh, developed, right? So this is one example that I can give you when it comes to professional associations, uh, to why, they have been created to provide them with ethical standards, research, counselor collaborations. We'll go, still deeper into it. As I enter into it, we'll go still deeper into it. So now let us, kind of enter into the goals. First, to deal with, major goals of counseling, because there are n number of goals of counseling. As I'm just, dealing with the very definition itself, I'm, parallelly, I'm talking about goals also. But what are the major goals of counseling? Major goal of counseling, it focuses on two aspects, two important aspects. Developing or forming rapport is the most important objective. Now, what is rapport? Being friendly and harmonious, developing a friendly and harmonious relationship with clients. That's what is rapport. And that is the major goal of counseling. Crucial, because unless and until you develop rapport, you can't go or you can't progress further. Now. And second is, this aims at, creating a therapeutic climate. Therapeutic climate means, particular ambience is to be provided between the counselor or by the counselor to the client, so that it must engage the client to resolve the issues, concerns, problems, right? Okay, therapeutic climate, it is to resolve the problem, but how the counselor actually provides this particular climate? How? మనం పోగానే ఒక క్లైమేట్ అయితే క్రియేట్ కాదు కదా, బికాస్ క్లయింట్ రీచెస్ టు ద కౌన్సిలర్, ద క్లైమేట్ ఈజ్ యాక్చువల్లీ ప్రొవైడెడ్. నో, ఇట్ వోంట్ హ్యాపెన్ దట్ వే. దెన్ how is it created? It is created based on transparency. It's called as genuineness. Yes, genuineness. A counselor is supposed to be real, original, honest, authentic. Authenticity in the counselor's interaction with the client, that is the most important. Honesty and unconditional positive regard, irrespective of what the problem is, irrespective of what the previous experiences are of the client, they need to be accepted unconditionally with a positive regard. Number 2. Number 3, yes, trust. Nammakam, Vishwasam, inherent to trust. The most important. Nammakam lekunda emi jaragadu. Right? Genuineness, unconditional positive regard, and third is trust. Right? These are the major goals. Okay. And other goals are, based on 3 types. Right? So they're based on the nature as well as the time range. I'll tell you. First, to begin with, time range. Goals related to the time range, say, for example, there could be sometimes, immediate goals, because client might be having some kind of, immediate concerns of suffering. నాకు తొందరగా, ఈ పర్టికులర్, ప్రాబ్లం నుంచి నేను రిలీవ్ కావాలి. Immediate, concern. This is something related to time, yes, right? So these are immediate goals which aims at addressing and resolving these immediate concerns. Whereas there are long-term goals also. That means which goes beyond these immediate problems or anxieties of the client. It focuses on how the client needs to utilize their potential. All the potential are to be identified first of all or built so that the client or the person becomes, independent, capable, so that, finally they can deal with their, even future problems also, right? They become, fully functioning person. These are called as, long-term goals. They are of different type, of course. And this is, actually given by Carl Rogers. And another goal is also there, right? Another goal. There are three types, right? So another type is it's like achieving a conducive counseling environment or a therapeutic climate, which is going to facilitate both immediate as well as long-term goals. So one is of immediate goals. Immediate concerns are to be addressed. Number two, long-term goals. Number three, providing them with a therapeutic climate so that it facilitates their immediate as well as long-term goals. Okay. So there are, other important goals also, of course. And other important goals are facilitating behavior change, facilitating behavior change. These are the other important goals, I mean to say, objectives of counseling. Because there are many goals, right? Multiple goals are there, as I told you. So facilitating behavioral change is one important goal. Like, for example, reduction of stress or bringing harmony into the relationship. Next, resolution of problems. For example, there's a kind of, incomplete behavior, inadequate or faulty behavior, maladaptive behavior. It is called as maladaptive behavior. So solving these kind of problems, some kind of, issues with interpersonal problems, interpersonal issues, right? And coping skills, enhancing coping skills, right? Sometimes, it could be as simple as, relaxation technique because they're not able to manage their anger, and anger is actually creating problems with team, at workplace, even with friends. So they have to, first of all, develop listening, understanding, empathizing with people, right? So even coping skills, how to actually, manage their anger, how to develop, assertiveness, and promoting decision making is also one of the goals of counseling. Improving relationships, not only, relation with others, relation with our own self, inter as well as intrapersonal relationships. And next important is, facilitating the client's potential. Most important, right? Inner potentials are to be, first of all, explored. This person is a very, positive thinking, for example, a listening, active listening, trustworthiness. These are all strengths, right? So recognizing the person's strengths so that, we can emphasize on them. That is facilitating the client's potential. how to actually use them for their problem solving, decision making, etc., etc. All these comes under facilitating the client's potential. And achievement of positive mental health. This is, and finally the most important is, achieving the positive mental health. Now, what is mental health? So many times, people, they're talking about mental health, but what is mental health? Mental health, it's a state which is to be characterized by, emotional well-being, where a person, with very good and positive mental health, they are very good at, adjustment, free from anxiety, relatively free from anxiety, with constructive relationships. They know how to cope, to deal with, demands. Because can you ever say that, there are not going to be demands in your life? Ordinary to complex demands will be there, right? The person, with positive mental health, they will be able to cope with the stress that are caused by the stressor, life stressors, ordinary demands to complex demands in life. And of course, the final, the most important goal of counseling is to help the client to achieve positive mental health and well-being, of course, right? So now let us enter into the scope of counseling. Please make a note of it, scope of counseling. So with this, you must have understood there are broad range of areas in counseling, right? And counselors do engage with variety of people or population. They offer assistance to diverse fields of, people from different fields, direction, or yes, therapeutic, interventions too, right? So what are these, diverse fields that I'm talking about here? The most important is, yeah, mental health counseling. Lot of scope is there in mental health counseling these days. You can see a number of people, LinkedIn, even otherwise also, mental health counselors. Wherever you see mental health professionals, mental health counselors. But you should understand with regard to their skills and techniques and trainings, evidence-based techniques that they should follow. So here, it's one of the crucial areas of counseling, because individuals with various types of mental health issues or illnesses like anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, or substance abuse from alcohol to various, drug issues, they are to be helped by the mental health counselors here, right? So here, those who seek help, they need to be assisted to manage their symptoms, anxiety symptoms, right? Depression symptoms. So first of all, clients are to be assisted with the management of symptoms, followed by creating coping mechanisms. How do they manage? Of course, through coping only, right? So that it can enhance their good mental health or general mental health, of course. And there are various other procedures actually. CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, psychoeducation. That means, first of all, they need to understand the nature of their mental illness, the etiology, how it is going to be progressed, anxiety progress out the emuntadi, what could be the consequences, right? What should be the actually, treatment? What are the alternatives to that, right? All these come under psychoeducation, and then mindful practices, etc., etc. All these come under that. Next important area, of course, the scope of counseling is in career. Yes, career counseling is another important field or topic. So here, especially, youngsters, or mostly, the people who are indecisive or confused with regard to their career, or they should be able to make decisions by a very well informed, professional, so that they can take, good decisions with regard to their career. First of all, what examining their interests, their abilities, beliefs, potential, what will be the profession in which they will be happy, right? Where they can use their inner potential to the fullest. So they're offered direction in the areas, including growth also, professional growth. If they're stuck up with something, what they should be doing from there, how to grow in their profession. Even job search research, job search tactics, even resume development, creation, career exploration, in addition to that, all these can be, helped through career counseling. Another important area is, yes, school counseling. So this is kind of a specialized field. You need to do school psychology, child psychology, specific learning disability. You need to have, all these are extra feathers in the, you know, to become a very learned expert in school counseling. So here, this is very much, to understand the problems related to academics, social, emotional, all these students' problems could be in all these dimensions, right? All these are to be understood. So they support and advise students, after all, to aim at, academic success, whether be it school or college or career related issues also, or emotional or social issues with regard to their conflicts. So many conflicts are there. Actually, conflicts, lead to stress, right? So at that age, especially, with until adolescence, they have so many conflicts because of their exposure, or just, they are exploring so many issues during their developmental period, so they can have many conflicts. So here, counselors can really, work wonders with that particular age group, provided they are equipped with all these right qualifications. Okay. And next important, area is, of course, family and relationship counseling. Yeah, working with couples and families with relationship problems. That's the focus with this particular counseling. It is to improve the interpersonal issues, conflict resolutions between couples or families, even parenting styles, impact of parenting styles on the emotional development of, say, like children. Yeah, family relations only, related to that. Even marital conflicts also, parent-child relationship, marital conflicts, even blended families, like one from the previous, spouse, and slowly, kind of they blend into one family. There could be many issues related there. Domestic abuse. So there are other, kind of areas are also now they are coming up, but these four are the most established. Like, we are in need of uh, counselors, experienced counselors, who are committed counselors, who are well trained counselors, right? So majority of the counseling systems, actually they share few crucial components. Now, when it comes to nature of counseling, okay, nature of counseling. Now we are doing nature of counseling. I have only 5 minutes now. I'll try to. The most important is, therapeutic relationship is very, very important. One of the components, uh, the crucial components, one of the crucial components of counseling is, yes, maintaining therapeutic relationship. I think I already mentioned this. Yeah, therapeutic partnership or therapeutic relationship, as Roger said, it is very much characterized by number one, empathy, sincerity, unconditional positive respect towards the client, right? And of course, genuineness, right, is it helps to develop a kind of authentic relationship between a counselor and client. Empathy actually helps the counselor to understand and appreciate the client's experiences. Unconditional positive regard, it provides a non-judgmental, accepting environment. Actually, it leads to a lot of personal development, of the client. When you are, for example, accepting me, for example, okay, you can just take this with an unconditional positive regard. I mean, it provides me with such a platform to look into myself, to discover, me. Self discovery it leads to. And naturally, once a person start reflecting, you know, into one's own self's reflection, self reflection, yes, it does lead to personal development. Yes. So it is the most important effective counseling outcomes. It is very much based on a counselor's capacity to establish and maintain this therapeutic relationship. The day you're going to become judgmental towards your client, I think it's like, even if the client feels also, oh, I think my counselor is becoming, judgmental. Even if he or she feels also, no, it will just go down the drain. It won't work. You have to look into time to time. The counselor needs to look into it. This, kind of, yeah, very important. And another crucial component of counseling is, yes, evidence-based therapy. That's why, again and again, I'm saying the same thing: training and skills and techniques development, this, that, I've been telling you. Why? Because this evidence-based therapeutic, methods are very, very important. This will help you, during the interventions, right? And these interventions are supported by, research and empirical data, right? So all these practices are, to be built, are already, built on reliable methods. So CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy, for example, right? It is generally, like used successfully in treating many mental health issues. And even other therapies also there, psychodynamic therapy, mindfulness based therapy, because we'll be doing it, in the coming classes. And number 3, another crucial component, ethical considerations. Yes. So actually, this ensures, the clients get utmost professional and moral care. There's a very thin line to maintain professional standards, which otherwise could become cheap gossip. A lot of, confidentiality is to be maintained. Hello, right? So American Counseling Association and other academic institutions, they have set standards for the counselors' behavior.
Yeah, good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Sorry to interrupt you, ma'am. It's already time up.
Okay, 7 kada. Okay, okay.
So next class will be start again. They have to join again. That's why.
Okay,
so thank
okay.
You. Thank you so much, ma'am.
Okay.
Tomorrow onwards, so definitely they will join sharp 6 o'clock.
Okay.
Then you can start 6 to 7.
6 to 7. Yeah, today actually time I had to start, little
Yes,
late. So I hope, yeah, today, how many of them could join? 18, huh? So yeah, one last Haridas, Sambashir,
Yeah, can I have
and Apparao Chandrakala. Okay, tomorrow I'll be expecting you people to join